Ruben Amorim is in action tonight against our arch rival. He'll have a test of a club that soon will become his worst nightmare in Manchester City. That's a game, honestly, you all can't pretend. That's a game we all, as United supporters, should be excited to watch. Of course, the non United supporters will be watching it, hoping to see him fail so that they can get every reason to throw all forms of flack at him and give him a bad mood as he arrives at Man United. But guess what? We will be there. Trust you me, all Manchester United supporters should be supporting Sporting Lisbon tonight as it takes on Manchester City in the UEFA Champions League. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Listen, every time a new manager is joining a club, there is always conversations about who is coming in and who is going out. Now, listen, there is a new strategy by Ineos to ensure that transfer business is handled right so that the pressure on the boss is less. Welcome to the United Hot Sport. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe because that's exactly what I'm going to tell you about in this video. Let's get it. Now, listen, I know we all have players we want to see out of Manchester United, and definitely I think even Ruben Amorim, he must have ideas of players he doesn't want to see in the team. I can honestly say it here without fear that I think actually he has already had a conversation with Ineos about some players he feels are not perhaps up to the levels that would expect Man United players to be. But listen, the structure, and I'm just reminding you of a structure that I probably told you about before, because the moment Ineos came in at Man United, they made it clear first that they were changing the structure from having a manager to a head coach. So guys, stop calling Ruben Amorim the Man United manager. He is the head coach. Of course, it will take time for us to get used to this. No, I mean something new. It's not something we've been used to, but it's not the only new thing that Ineos changed around the team. They also changed the Vetto, who has the veto when it comes to transfers. Now, before, managers always enjoyed most of it because it was all about the manager and what they think. There was no really, technical and proper sporting director who really focused on the football. Technical people in terms of doing that technical job of knowing which direction we want to go, the kind of football we want to play, the players we want to sign. It wasn't really there. It was mostly up to the managers to decide. So Eric Ten Hag, by the way, this was one of the points of contention with Ineos when he was trying to agree the contract extension or a new contract with Ineos. He was always very, very insistent on having the veto when it came to transfers because I know by character, you probably all know, I mean, you agree like I do. He had quite a character that loved to have all the power and authority around the team. But somehow they sort of, cut that a bit and tolerated him for a bit, accommodated him for as long as they could until they let go of him. Now, with Ruben Amorim, it's going to be different. And I'm going to give you the pros and cons of this new approach. First of all, he will not have the full veto when it comes to transfers. Of course, as a manager, you've got to have a say in which players you want to sign, which players you want to leave. You've got to suggest. And again, like I told you, if you want a player in the midfield department, come up with a list of names. The technical team will come up with a list of names, go up in a meeting and debate and discuss them until you come to the same conclusion that, you know what, this is the player we should be going for. So that's exactly what we expect to see with this new, in your structure. And they had certainly a discussion about it between Ineos and Ruben Amorim, and he must be comfortable with it. So for me, that's a good thing. This is the positive I see in that. It's that it takes the pressure away from the manager when it comes to assigning players. And of course, these funny, certain incompetent journalists in the British media will still keep throwing questions at him like it's really his veto when it comes to new signings and players who have been brought in. But I think over time, they will also get used to understand and know what the role of Ruben Amorim is in all this. And they will probably keep asking him questions to do with the football rather than with the recruitment, because that is not exactly going to be his role. Who can only have a contribution. So for me, it's an okay structure. I look at a team like Real Madrid, the most successful club in the world right now, has got almost the same structure because away from the manager Carlo Ancelotti, there's a team that thinks of players they want to sign, and even before they have a manager, even when Carlo Ancelotti leaves Real Madrid right now, they will still buy players before they find a replacement. That's how they do it. I don't think Kylian Mbappe, for example, was Carlo Ancelotti's idea. No, but Mbappe was bought by the club, and Ancelotti has got to make him work. That's now sort of, again, like I said, it has its pros and cons because as a manager, you were thinking, I want my own players. But you see, you can't do the same thing and expect different results. That hasn't worked for United. So it's high time. And for me, I'm within yours. Change the structure, have the manager contribute, suggest names, and just look through them and see if they make sense, sign them, and then see. Because also the thing is, managers come and go. But if you're going to keep buying players for managers, it then becomes expensive because each manager will come and want to bring players they've ever worked with. Amorim, imagine if he had all the Vetto, he would come in and want to bring the whole of Sporting Lisbon and Braha and players he has wished to be under him, admired before. You see, so if you sack him after a year and a half when things don't work, then what happens? These players are on long contracts. You have to go back then, get another manager, sign players for them. That's why Man United has lacked continuity. So for me, I think people are not giving enough attention to that big solution that Ineos have come up with. For me, the change of the structure is a big solution because it will give us a long-term plan and identity, and we just bring pieces to fit into the plan that we have. So for me, that's an important thing. Now, in terms of personnel, and I know most of you would want to hear names, but the moment you see in and outs, everyone wants to hear a certain name. Anthony should leave. Luke Shaw should leave. Injury prone. Marcus Rashford. Da, 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 da. Of course, it's too early to name names of who particularly is leaving and who is going because you never know. Certain players who have been so terrible in the previous under previous management might actually turn out to be gold. So it all first has to start with Amorim coming and introducing his methods, and he then assesses who fits into the methods and who doesn't, and maybe they will all see with Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox rather. They will also make a collective contribution and say, you know what, this player doesn't fit what we want to do, how we want to play. Let's move on from them. So that's a new dawn. That's the new era. Things are going to be different, guys. Man United fan, you also have got to adjust yourself because you're going to be enjoying Man United a different way. The Amorim, or rather, the Ineos way. It's going to be different because this is now the real Ineos taking charge of Man United and giving it their own identity. I was listening to Morten Jolmand, who is one of the players at Sporting Lisbon. Of course, has been linked with Man United even before the whole Amorim talks came up. I think when we were looking for a holding midfielder, I remember when mentions of Manuel Ugarte and stuff, he was among the players, him, Onana, Amadou Onana, and the likes, who were linked with Man United, but he didn't join. But he spoke highly, he was waxing lyrical about Ruben Amorim. In fact, he called him Ruben Amorim, about his methods and how he wants to play and how players play for him, how he manages players off the pitch. People don't know, but he's a good man manager. Tactically, of course, he's clearly up there. The way he communicates, he gives you clarity, and that's important for a player. That he will make you understand how he wants his teams to play and your role in it, and that's very important for a player. I mean, it's very important. That kind of communication for me is very important if people are going to really, really understand and push in the same direction with the manager. They've got to understand their role in the whole project. Very important. And that's exactly what Ruben Amorim is created for, at least according to a player who has worked under him. So for me, it's a good thing. It takes away, the pressure. This new in your structure is exciting. You want to see it, and of course, hoping that it works. Because at least for me, even if it is no guarantee that it will work, I think for me, the thing I'll be happy about is the fact that it's something new. They have changed something about things and how they work. Because it wouldn't make sense for us to have new management but still same old way of doing things. It wouldn't make sense at all, would it? So good stuff there. But first things first, guys. Tonight, Sporting Lisbon up against Man City. Let us support Sporting Lisbon like our lives depend on it, because how this man performs against Man City is going to do well for Manchester United. It is going to send a statement to the clubs, because trust you me, all Premier League club managers are going to be watching. All Man United players are going to be watching that game. All Man United supporters should be watching that game. Everybody is going to be watching that game. Just focus on one thing: Ruben Amorim and what he does, how he sets up against the team managed by the guy in his own admission said he's the best manager in the world. So it's going to be quite an exciting game. The gods of football just know how to set up the right moments for the beautiful game. Guys, football is indeed God's sport, isn't it? Of course, like all others are. Let me catch you later, fam. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace, love, and harmony.